Pokemon Day is just 2 days away, and we've got tons of riddles, rumors, and leaks to cover before the big day. Will we see a new Let's Go style game for Johto, or are we revisiting Black and White with the Unova region? There's a ton for us to break down, so let's dive in. All right, I don't know about y'all, but I am super excited for Pokemon Day this year because there's a lot of possible things and a couple different routes that they can go with the franchise, and I am all on board for a new Legends style game, but we've got some rumors and things that I want to break down today. The first one being this retweet from Riddler Coup. If you guys don't know who Riddler Coup is, they are a very clear insider with connections to Pokemon, and they've riddled and teased a ton of stuff that has been proven to be true. So at this point, there's really no reason to doubt anything that they say, or at least the credibility of their post. So they actually retweeted this post from Elite Robo a little while back that said it was a concept. This is not real, but this is a concept for Pokemon Black, Gold, and Silver, White. And the idea behind that is that it basically fuses the Johto and Unova region together into one kind of remake style game where you explore these different regions in a unique way. I normally wouldn't cover this because I don't think this is the route that Pokemon's gonna go, but I find it interesting that Riddler Coup himself actually posted this. So I think there's a lot of validity to the possibility of us going double time like we did a couple years ago with not only the Gen 5 remake of Unova, but also a revisitation of Generation 2 Johto through some sort of Let's Go style game. So a couple different avenues we can go there. But one thing that Riddler Coup did post about is this riddle here, and it is it looks like the number 8, of course, from a digital clock, and it's got the 2 little dots in the top left corner. This was posted on the 20th, and then there was actually a follow-up post to this where they posted on the 23rd, the same exact image, but now you can actually see some of the parts like grayed out, a little bit of darker shade of gray, and the 2 dots still exist in the top corner. So there's a lot of kind of questions about what this riddle could actually be. Ruffled Rowlet had actually made a post from Karyotas in Discord saying, hey, I tried to read the picture mathematically, and I think we're looking at a sequence here. The 2 dots should be set as X and Y, and if you add them up, they'll always be 8. So X plus Y equals 8. So you have the 2 possible outcomes. Then they kind of break down some different math of 0 plus 8 or 8 plus 0, etc. In Gen 7, you had a remake on the Switch after a Gen 1 game. So you take Gen 7 plus Generation 1 and you get to 8, right? That's the idea behind this. In Gen 8, you had Solo, just Gen 8. There was no other games. You had 2 remakes of Generation 4. So Gen 4 plus Gen 4 equals 8. If they released Generation 5, then the number needed to get to 8 would be 3, right? Because 8 minus 5 is 3. So the idea is if they release Unova to get this riddle to fill itself out, you have to get 3 more Gen points, I guess, in this equation. The thing here is that Johto kind of equates to 3 because Johto is Generation 2, but it also features Generation 1. So the thought is that this is a long way of saying that we're getting Unova and Johto remakes. That's the idea behind this, which would look like something like a Let's Go Johto plus some sort of Unova remake. We could be looking at a Legends Kyurem kind of game. We could be looking at Black and White 3. I think those are some of the primary ideas that a lot of people have been circulating. But we do have a couple different rumor posts that have been going around. I find them to be very interesting, so we're gonna break them down. The first one is this one. It's a Legends Arceus type of rumor that actually breaks down new potential starters of Chespin, Torchic, and Piplup, which is kind of dope. And let's talk about it. So it says it's called Jushin and Shuto, 2 regions, modern Johto, and a map to the west, a bit north. It takes place before Legends Arceus. There's new names and locations. Night Sky Mountain is north, new islands west of Cyanwood, Snow Mountain with ancient temples, northwest of Johto. It says that Chespin, Torchic, and Piplup are going to be your starters. They end up being Grass Fairy, Fire Steel, and Water Fighting. So much like we saw in Legends Arceus, the starters getting kind of reimagined forms as they evolve, this is indicating that they would do that here, which would be sick. It says that there's a regional Tangela Evo, which is normal and fairy. There's a Hawlucha and an Absol regional forms. It says that there's a special regional Gyarados, which is water and fire. So I'm all for this, right? Like if I had my choice, if I got to choose, I would definitely go the Legends style game. I found Legends Arceus to be absolutely incredible. It says that there's 2 main storylines, one of which is with raging Pokemon. So human settlements are under attack, epic raid style boss battles on raging Pokemon with NPCs, Kamado and Benny in main settlement at Lake of Rage. It used to be a village. Gyarados is a boss raid, which is a 4v1. It talks about a Kamado storyline, like a prequel to Legends Arceus. Of course, he was a main character in Legends Arceus. the Bell Tower Raid Attack, which is a 4v1, Brass Tower Final Raid Attack, Ho-Oh, its Raging Form. I don't know what it is in English. It's a 4v1, and then you activate the other 3-piece, and Ho-Oh is captured. And then the second storyline this is detailing is a war between the regions. You have to visit the different temples, imagine archaic versions of gyms, no titles. Final fight on Josho Island is versus Lugia, the Raging Form. You get to see the Whirl Islands, all that good stuff, and then the regions form to unite and ultimately become Johto in the future. Then they says that there's a very small area with islands of the south of the map, which has Gen 3 Pokemon, no regional or new, but some legendaries. There's a third egg legendary, which is Rock and Ghost, which talks about an awakened bird form, electric and flying, and I guess you can switch between those different forms. And then there's a side story antagonist, Draconid, many references to Hoenn, and the final battle at Cyanwood Island. So a very interesting post, right? I'm gonna be honest, I think this one's a little out there, but I'm all for Legends, like a Legends style game. I will eat that up in a heartbeat. Give that to me. That would be phenomenal. I would take that in a second. That is what I want the most, is a Legend style game, which I've said a few times. But let me know in the comments what you guys want to see most. We're gonna kind of break this down over the next couple days as Pokemon Day gets closer, and I will be streaming the Pokemon Day announcement over on twitch.tv/adrive, so don't miss out there. Now, this other rumor was making the rounds here, and I feel like I gotta cover it. It was making the rounds probably a few weeks ago. I saw legitimately thousands of retweets on this one. This one was making a lot of headway. Let's go Wooper. Let's go Togepi. Now, I'll be real. Listen, if they're gonna do new Let's Go style games, which, by the way, in hindsight, Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was pretty sweet, man. We always put on those nostalgia glasses with Pokemon. I feel like we're the harshest critics in the moment of a generation or a new game launch. And then when we take a step back a few years later, you look at them and you're like, you know what? Those weren't that bad, especially when you compare it to kind of some of the newer stuff and some of the faults that come with that. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was actually pretty good in hindsight. I will say that. It was pretty good. So the idea of a new Let's Go style game exploring Johto, I'm all for that too, man, especially if we get the double whammy with 2 games. So let's go Wooper, let's go Togepi. It says it's a gold and silver crystal remakes for the Switch, direct sequels to Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. The one big hang up here is like, why Wooper, right? Like, of all the Johto Pokemon that they could choose to highlight, like Pikachu and Eevee, I get that, right? Wooper and Togepi, not sure how I feel about that. They're first of all, they're drastically different, right? Wooper only evolves once. I guess in theory these wouldn't evolve, right? You would keep them themselves. Togepi feels weird because Togepi by itself is pretty bad. Obviously Togekiss is a thing, but it feels a little disconnect-ish to me, but let's read it, because again, this got a lot of traction. Wooper and Togepi are the mascots. I would think Marill. If anything, I would think Marill would be a mascot. Kanto post-game, there's a new Pokeball Plus accessory based on the GS ball that has Celebi inside when you connect to the games. You get a Wooper or Togepi egg from Elm that's about to hatch, and it becomes your partner. In-game trades for Hisuian, Galarian, and Paldean forms, but evolutions like Cursula are transfer-only. Held items are reintroduced. Go Park has moved from Fuchsia City to replace Johto's Safari Zone. Gameplay similar to the original Let's Go games. Awakened values return. I don't know if that was the candy system. New Pokemon and Me, like mechanic where you can play with your Pokemon, not just your partner. There's big in-game rewards for transferring Pokemon from the Let's Go games. You play as a new trainer with a new rival. Your partner Pokemon can get Apricorns to give to Kurt to make new Pokeballs, and the Gold and Silver Leaf can power up Wooper and Togepi when held. These are going to be the last main series Pokemon games on the Switch. So obviously there's been a ton of rumors that have been circulating about a new Nintendo Switch, a Switch 2. So that obviously aligns there. In terms of just overall thoughts, I do struggle with the idea of Let's Go Wooper of all things. I feel like that's a little bit out there. Marill, if anything, I think would be the proper candidate there. But nonetheless, it is exciting to think about the possibilities here. So let me know your thoughts on the Riddler Coup 8 riddle. If you guys have any sort of insight or ideas there, we're going to continue the coverage here for Pokemon Day 2024. Get excited for it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.